Hello, everyone. My name is Robin Renee O'Neill. I am 45 years old. I'm a visual artist, a part-time homicide detective, a salad dressing lover, and what else am I? A mailman. You are listening to me reading stuff. How are we today? Are you guys good? Are you bad? Are you medium? I think I am great today, with a slight little seasoning of bad, only because of my lethargy, my extreme exhaustion. Other than that, I'm high on life right now. For those of you just tuning in, 2023 is the year of my sabbatical. I've been working I've just been working way too hard my whole life. And so I've got a lot of reasons for this, if you guys don't know, but I'm finally giving myself a sabbatical for an entire year. At first, I didn't tell you guys this, but at first I thought, maybe I'll take like a month off. A month? No. Then I was like, okay, 3 months. Okay. No. And then, anyway, nothing seemed like enough. And during this sabbatical so far, I've gone through a lot of ups and downs, and I'm really having to train myself, but I just keep giving myself grace. I keep giving myself break after break after break. It's like it feels like I've saved up a lifetime of chances to be nice to myself, and I'm finally using every last one of them and even adding in some new ones, some extra ones. Things I've been doing. Tomorrow I'm taking my first official sewing lesson. I know how to hand sew pretty well, but my sewing machine really, really intimidates me, and I'm scared I've used it on every curtain in this house to hem it and to make curtains, but I'm so nervous all the time when I get it out. So I've wanted to have a sewing lesson of some sort ever since I was a little girl. And so tomorrow, Friday the 13th, is my first sewing lesson. How cute is that? I think it's very cute, and it's very fun, and it's pure and innocent, and it's me. I've also been reading like a maniac all week. I've even had these dreamiest of dreamy moments, laying on my little mini couch in my yarn room, and it's really been dreary and rainy outside, and I've had blankets on me, and Frankie, my cat, is curled up near me or on my lap, and I just read for hours. A lot of books I've been trying to get to for a while, and some new ones. Some of them are books on map making and letter writing. Side note, I found out Sylvia Plath has horrible handwriting. I mean, it's not like messy. I would love it if her handwriting was messy. She just has that I feel like such an asshole, but I hate this certain kind of handwriting that she has. I mean, her handwriting looks like the girls I grew up with in suburbs in the 1990s. It's like very girly handwriting. And I don't know what it is. I'm so sorry that I'm being an asshole about Sylvia Plath's handwriting, but I'm not really sorry because I just really do hate it. Let's see. What else was going on? Yeah, I mean, it's just nice because every time I've attempted these types of things, these nice, relaxing, laid-back moments, I was so overpowered by so much guilt for not working that I was never able to enjoy myself in this way that I'm kind of teaching myself to enjoy. I mean, it's still a little bit of an adjustment, but overall, I'm kind of taken to this calm, easygoing life pretty damn well. I always thought this about myself, and I don't know why I thought this or if I've ever said this on the podcast. I always had this weird instinct that something just went off, like got a little bit wrong for me, that deep down, even upon birth, that I was supposed to be one of the chillest people alive. I've always had this great belief that was my true nature. And yet, I'm on Lexapro. I have anxiety issues, massive anxiety issues. And so I like to kind of see this side of me come out. And I'm noticing it, like something goes a little wrong and I'm just like, yep, what else you got? Pass me the kombucha. I don't really care. And I love that feeling because I've always cared about everything around me. I cared about everything the neighbor is going through. I cared about everything the tree across the street is going through. I cared about every church in the town I live in is going through. I mean, I just cared and I cared and I cared and I cared. And it's not that I just don't care, but I really am. I think it's just also getting older Your body's like, please stop this. Just chill out. So that's where I'm at, and it feels really good. Now, there was one very sad note this week, namely when I learned that one of my all-time favorite people died, the great poet Charles Simic. Now, of course, I've read Simic on this podcast, possibly more than any other poet I feature on here. I've read from him on the podcast 8 times. If you search Podomatic, I believe I'm the only podcast that's ever mentioned him on Podomatic. On iTunes, you'll have more. I mean, he was on Bookworm. He was on many radio shows that I've loved in the past. And you can find a lot. I highly recommend looking up interviews with him, both on, video form and on wherever you get your podcast. But anyway, Serbian-born, forced to, immigrate into America as a teen with his family, specifically Chicago. I'm reminded of the fact, and some of you reminded me of this week in emails. I've said, after reading his poems on this podcast, I basically say something like, please, Mr. Simic, do not die. Please, Mr. Simic, stay alive forever. And he probably tried, but sadly, this week, I think Monday, he died at 84 years old. He had dementia. So, I believe that, this is just my opinion, but probably half of the most well-informed readers of poetry, or the poets we read nowadays, contemporary poets, just wouldn't be possible if it weren't for him. I think he's been hugely influential. And you could kind of tell in some of the obituaries that people do believe that. I mean, I know that I do. And once this news of him being gone settles and I'm able to locate all of my Simic poetry books, I want to do a proper tribute episode for him because he deserves it in a major way. Sadly, my books are not in alphabetical order and are all over the place. Like, I've got stacks and stacks, many different areas in my studio, many different areas in my yarn room, upstairs on the landing, downstairs in the living room, downstairs next to my bed, downstairs on the bookshelves. I mean, bedroom shelves, bedroom next to the bed, on the floor. It's just, I'm driving myself crazy. Do you guys you book collectors out there, do you have the same problem, or are you really organized about it? And should I take time during the sabbatical to organize it or not really? I don't know. Weigh in. info@robinoneal.com. Let's see. Well, yeah, if you guys don't already know him, I would say order any of his books and watch and listen to the interviews, like I said. My favorite book of Charles Simic's is The World Doesn't End. I've read from it several times on the podcast, so search the podcast for his name and you'll see that. But I want to thank, again, anybody who reached out about his passing this week. And I want to specifically thank Me Reading Stuff listener Chris Lott. Hello, Chris Lott. Chris Lott sent me the last poem from Simic's final book, which reads like this, and it's called The Wind Has Died. My little boat, take care. There is no land in sight. I mean, it's just so moving, especially the fact that that's Charles Simic's last poem published. It's just so strange when that happens. It's just like, it reminds me of, if you guys remember, C.K. Williams' final poem in his last book ends with the words, keep dying, keep writing it down, which I say all the time, keep dying, keep writing it down. And there's stuff in there like, again, this is me just remembering it, so I'm totally not quoting it exactly, but such fun to be alive, though. Such fun to wake up, though. Such fun when you don't, too, or something like that. It's just so exciting. Because, that poem just... Ooh, man, I should memorize that poem. I love memorizing poems, and I just don't do it like I should. Another line I remember from Simic's, I can't remember if it's a line from one of his poems or just something he said in an interview, but I know I have it written down somewhere, and it's something like, those who cannot howl will never find their pack. I love that so much. Speak up, don't be shy, howl, cry, scream, yell, do what you got to do. And, God, I don't know if I've found my pack yet in life, you guys. Do I want a pack? I like being a lone wolf. I don't know, Charles Simic. Let's talk about this. When I die, I'm going to talk to Charles Simic about this. Okay. Let's do a little reading. No, let me hit pause and play whatever. I think I've recorded a few things. Let me see what I've got for you guys, and then I'll come back and read. So give me 1 second. Okay, I feel like I ask you guys this a lot if anybody else watches YouTube as much as I do. I kind of feel like, what am I, a 21-year-old? Or is everybody watching YouTube as much as me and we just don't talk about it? Or maybe this is because I just don't have conversations with anybody. So anyway, I watch YouTube a lot because I, as somebody who makes a lot of arts and crafts along with my drawings, I am constantly looking up crochet and yarn related things, right? And now that I'm into Rajiv Surendra's YouTube page, even though there's only 3 things on it, I'm very, I do a lot of things on YouTube. And then when I read, I tend to put on those library or cafe ambiance videos. I've told you guys about this before, but if you missed it, I am obsessed with these. I don't know what they call them, like cozy vibes, rainy vibes. My favorite guy is Rainy Guy, who, by the way, I need to reach out to Rainy Guy and just give him a quick thank you on YouTube for what he does. You know, everything is like the perfect cabin or the perfect Manhattan apartment. And it's all about coziness. And so the cafes usually have like, it's not good jazz music, but it's jazz music that you don't even hear. It's so boring, you know, which is perfect for when I'm just reading, or I like to pretend that I'm going to a cafe. I've told you guys this before, because real cafes don't exist anymore. And that really makes me mad. In fact, even let's say I just wanted to go to Starbucks in my town. Well, I just went over there and I saw that they had a new sign on their door that said new hours. Basically, they close at 6 p.m. I like the idea of going to a cafe that's open until 11 p.m. or midnight, you know, like we did in the 90s, old people. Okay, anybody who missed out on 90s coffee shop life, I really feel for you because I think it was the greatest time on earth. And we just don't have it anymore. We just can't do that anymore. And that makes me very sad. But anyway, so I'm on YouTube a lot for all sorts of reasons. Yeah, so I nap to the rainy sounds and I read and do like office, you know, any business stuff I have to do, I do with the cafe on. There's also library sounds. Some of them are just sounds where you just hear like this kind of thing. Like they do fake writing and fake book binding opening, you know what I mean? Okay, so anyway, what I'm getting sick of, and I know that this is going to sound like some conservative's argument or something, but I don't mean it like that. What I'm saying is this is super annoying to me. No matter what I'm watching, like right now I'm watching this young woman's description of her goals for crochet for the year. I just put it on in the background as I'm doing a TripAdvisor thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm on a website and I'm figuring something out and I'm like, okay, let's just hear what she has to say because I always like this girl. Well, every topic she brings up comes with a disclaimer and an apology. So for instance, I'm just going to make something up. Let's say I said, I am so into, what's her name? Vanna White. Vanna White has a yarn line. Okay, here's me. I've got a YouTube page. I really want to do more with the Vanna White yarn, Lion Brand Vanna White yarn, because I love how soft it is and how the colors are all so beautiful. Now, listen, I just want to say, if anyone out there doesn't like Vanna White yarn, I really want to apologize and just make sure you know that I totally support whatever yarn you like. And if, you know, if let's just say you don't even like acrylic yarn in general and you only like wool yarn, girl, be you. I love that too. But please just know that this is just for me. I like the Vanna White from Lion Brand yarns. And just please know that I totally don't mean any harm when I say that. Every single thing she brought up, it's like, honey, you can talk about things you like without it being offensive. And But, you kind of can't half the time. So I see where this poor thing's coming from. She's worried that people are going to hate her or something. But we also have to come back to the thing where, like, it's okay if people don't like what you said. If this is not offensive to like a certain kind of yarn. And it was everything. Then there was another thing, like, she goes, so I just like to be a little more intentional about my projects. I want to just finish more projects because I tend to get too excited and start a whole bunch of things. And, then at the end of the year, I see all of these beginning sweaters and I don't see the end results. And so this year, I just want to make a pact with myself to finish everything I start. Not that there's anything wrong. I just want to be clear. If you love starting things and not finishing them, then seriously, you do you, because that's awesome. That is so awesome too. I'm just like, you know what? That's really not awesome. And all of us who do that aren't happy about it. So you don't have to say, everybody understands what you mean. It's nice to finish things you start. Now I'm not going to go on and give a comment, but I am going to get on here and talk to you guys about it. And by the way, this is just one. Let's see how far I am into this video. I am only 6 minutes in. Here she is. I bet she's about to apologize.
Of my 2023 are just crafting more intentionally.
Crafting more intentionally.
The way I'm buying, and
I can't take it, you guys. And it's everything. Like, this is the thing, is that it's one thing if we're talking politics. It's one thing if we're talking, I don't even know what. Think of all the things that it would make sense to say this about. If you're saying something about economics, or you're saying something about price gouging, or, the price at the pumps, I get where you might want to be a little careful. But I also think we're all insane, and everybody needs to just keep talking. And also, I just want to say, I've said this before, and I do get on a roll here because I think it's a worthy roll. It's also very okay to disagree with people. I think that is a beautiful thing about being alive. You should disagree with people. You should also sometimes agree with people. You should talk to the people you disagree with, believe it or not. I know not everybody can handle that anymore. People get way too, they're about to have an aneurysm if they have to talk to anybody they disagree with. And I'm talking not only politics, just everything. People tend to just surround themselves with everybody like-minded. And I think this is why everybody seems like a robot to me. An apologetic robot. That's what we're dealing with, a whole bunch of apologetic robots. And I just can't take it anymore. You don't need to apologize for having an opinion. I'm the one about to have an aneurysm right now. But you want to know why? Because I really care, and I see people feeling muffled or muzzled. What is the word? When a dog has a muzzle? Yeah, everybody is just bound and gagged and, shells of their former self. And you got to, especially for us creative people who write or draw or paint or sculpt or whatever, make music. If you're constantly thinking about what people are going to think about what you're doing or thinking or saying, you will never do anything great. Ever, 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 ever. That has to be out of your brain entirely. No matter what the world is telling you, no matter what the media is telling you, no matter what YouTubers are telling you, it just makes me mad. And as an older person, I just wish I could talk to all of these young people that I watch who I really enjoy. But I just see the amount of paranoia in their brains. And I know from experience that when you're working and operating with paranoia, you will not do great things. So, end of story. Goodbye. I'm sorry. I'm very upset. I'm very upset right now. Back to TripAdvisor. Okay, I've been excited to read this to you guys for a while. We are reading. I've been wanting to read more from movies and TV for you guys for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a huge part of my life. I am a huge TV watcher and lover. Most of the time, the TV I watch is not the kind of prestige television that people tend to love. Although I occasionally fall victim to it. most notably recently with White Lotus. And I'm bringing up the White Lotus, which I loved because the White Lotus was created and written and directed by Mike White, who I've loved for so long. I saw Chuck and Buck, his first movie, at the theater when I lived in Chicago on opening night. I can't remember. I think I read something about it and I was like, this sounds perfect. And it's really, really one of my favorite movies, I would say. I don't even know what to say about it. If you haven't seen Chuck and Buck, I highly recommend it. Although in watching it again most recently, I forgot it's like one of the first feature films to be shot on digital, and whoa, you can really tell that technology had not been perfected yet. It's like watching. I don't know. You just have to see it. But the content is what matters, and it's so good. So anyway, what am I talking about? Okay, well, and I always like it. None of you guys seem to ever respond, except for when I read from American Movie. I read that soliloquy from Mark Borchart's uncle. That is when Uncle Bill is his name, and I've read from that, and people always respond. A lot of people find the podcast because of that, so that makes me happy. Other than that, I don't think my listeners really get very excited when I read like lyrics or I don't know, something from a movie. But again, kind of like a lot of things I've been saying lately, I don't really care because this is my podcast and I want to did my voice just crack? I'm going through puberty and I just don't care anymore. So when I was sick, I was watching so much TV and really actually hating everything I was watching. And at one point I was like, well, maybe I had HBO open and I was kind of longing for more The White Lotus when I was waiting for episodes. So I remembered I loved Enlightened by Mike White, another HBO drama from 2011 to 2012, I think it was on. And I was watching it and I still like it, but it doesn't hit me quite the same as it did when it first came out. But I was definitely enjoying it. And I'm particularly fond of the character played by Luke Wilson. And his name's Levi. And he is, Laura Dern plays Amy, the main character. And Amy's ex-husband is Levi. And long story short, before I read what I'm going to read from the TV show, this is from season 2, episode 3, I believe. I will say, long story short, the man writing this letter is in rehab. You'll probably understand that. And basically, his ex-wife sort of insisted he go. And that's why he's there. And this is a letter. So Levi's letter from rehab on Enlightened, HBO, by Mike White. Amy. Well, I made it here. Barely. They took away my phone, so I have to write this shit out. Can't remember the last time I wrote a letter. First couple of days were brutal. My heart rate was fucking skyrocketing, and the way everyone was talking, so quiet and sympathetic, made me really want to drink. Or kill myself. I've calmed down, but I'm not feeling it. At all. It's like I'm in a Hawaiian prison. Honestly, I can't believe you fell for this shit. The philosophy is just so cheesy. I may be desperate, but I can't fall for just anything. They want me to look at my dreams. My dreams are chaos. They want me to look at my past. The past is a junkyard. Everything dead, rusted, and broken. They say to live in the moment. Well, what if the moment is endless? And it's headaches and phlegm and farts and whiners whining about every fucking thing that ever happened to them. These people are just so pathetic. I can't look them in the face when they talk about God and a higher power and the presence of grace. We're animals, Amy, and some animals like to party. For me, God is a beer on the beach. Maybe that's fucked up, but at least it's honest. It's not wishful thinking. I went snorkeling yesterday. I wanted to find the turtle you told me about. There was no turtle, just a bunch of garbage at the bottom of the ocean. One of the locals told me the bay here has been polluted by all the boats. All the turtles have gone or died. Anyway, your turtle, if it ever existed, is gone. At least I can't find it. That's all I got. I guess we'll see. I'm counting the days. Levi. Oh, man. So there it is. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I love it. It breaks my heart, especially as me, as a person like me who's dealt with a lot of recovery in my life. Yeah, it's really beautiful because you're expecting. I don't know. I mean, this is why I love going to 12-step meetings and why it's so powerful when you hear reality from people. I think a lot of people think of, I don't know, rehab or any sort of healing as this like beautiful, well, the word enlightened comes to mind, and, enlightening, but it's actually incredibly messy and disgusting and hard and difficult. And it it kind of gets better, but not really, because then you just keep uncovering things, which I have been doing more and more later in my life. So anyway, I love that letter so much. I think that letter is probably the best, I don't know, passage I've ever heard on addiction, to be honest with you, or read on addiction. So that's it. Well, you guys, that is going to be it for today. I guess I just want us all to continue along whatever path we're following right at this very moment. If it's a good path, that's great. If it's a bad path, it's all relative in the end. Keep going, keep doing your thing. Don't do any other guy's thing, do your thing. Keep dying, keep writing it down. May you hear angels. I love you guys. Good night.